Greetings. You're listening to a special Blaine's World show here on WPVM FM, and we're usually on Wednesday mornings at 9 o'clock, and hope you join us then. But I was particularly fortunate to arrange a show today with my friend Mike Martinelli. And Mike, before we begin, you can wave to all your fans and friends in Facebook world.
Hey, everybody.
Great. And this show, the special show we do each year just before the Oscars, and Mike was gracious enough to make himself available. And so the Oscars are going to be coming up this weekend. And if you're going to be watching it, you should hopefully catch this show beforehand, because Mike is the world's greatest expert, or at least the expert that I know of, on movies. And the question is, Mike, how do you get to be so knowledgeable about movies?
I started going to a movie as a little kid. My mom took me all the time on Saturday when movies used to be 50 cents for adults and 25 cents for kids, and they had double and triple features. So I was so used to just going to movies just from like 4 or 5 years old.
Do you remember the very first movie you ever saw?
I don't. I remember it was 4 movies that were playing that one day, but I don't remember what they were.
What's the first movie you do remember seeing, or one of the first ones?
I can remember seeing, as a little kid, The 10 Commandments.
Okay.
It was a movie that used to be released theatrically every year at Easter.
Sure. Do you still watch it when it's on?
No.
The first movie the first 2 movies I remember was Damn Yankees, which became one of my favorite movies of all time. And then a movie, Mike, I want to get your reaction to this, which I then revisited, and I didn't like as much when I revisited it, but it was The Spirit of St. Louis. Remember the with James Stewart and
yeah, I've actually never seen either one of those movies. I've seen the musical version of Damn Yankees, but I've ever actually seen the movie with Gwen Verdon.
Okay, but at any rate, good movie if you ever get a chance. But then fast forward that, Mike. So you developed a love of movies as a young kid, and then fast forward it. How did you maintain that interest, or you just kept it the rest of your life?
I just kept it the rest of my life. You know, when I lived in New York, I worked in movie theaters as an usher, so it was fun.
Now, what about the whole idea of seeing movies and that you've seen them all live in theaters, which I've loved, but how do you like seeing them at home via Netflix or Amazon Prime?
I like it. I really do. I think it's a good option. You could just kind of watch it when you want. You don't have to be tied to going any certain time. You know, the only issue I don't like is sometimes, and everybody seems to have this issue, sometimes you're streaming something and it decides to stop in the middle of the stream. That's the only flaw with watching them at home.
But the nice thing is you don't have to deal with any sticky popcorn on the ground, or you don't have to, or other people talking. You know,
and I can cuddle with the dogs while I watch movies.
Okay, or you can always pause it, I guess, if that's the case. And so that kind of brings us right to where we are now, Mike, in that for the last year, you certainly haven't gone to many movies in theaters, or any, and I haven't either. But you so impressed me with the fact that you told me a couple of days ago that you actually seen most of this year's films up for Oscars.
I have.
And so you see them on Netflix, Amazon Prime, or you have everything?
Plus Hulu.
Oh, you have them all?
I have them all.
Oh my goodness. So you certainly are the guy to talk to movies about. And before we even talk about the Oscar picks, I have to ask you about one other film, Mike, that you've been telling me about for a while. You told me no matter what I have to do is I have to see it. And again, I should compliment you that most every recommendation you give me is like spot on. You know, it's just, I've seen you'll tell me to see a movie, and I almost always try to take your advice. What about this film called The Independents?
It is an amazing movie. I found it by accident by their Facebook post. The name of the group, and this is their new CD, Music Fills the Space. The name of the group is The Sweet Remains. As you can see, I've got one of their hats.
Okay.
The movie, it's a true story about these 3 guys that actually came together and formed this group that has this amazing 3-part harmony. It was a fluke how they got together and formed the group. And one of the neatest things is, and this, all my Broadway friends will, and theater friends will appreciate this. The guy that wrote and directed the movie and is one of the band members, Greg Naughton, is actually married to the Tony Award-winning Broadway star Kelly O'Hara. She actually is in this movie. And it is just one of those feel-good movies that you don't see very often anymore. I can make it equal to how you felt when you saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding years ago.
Okay.
It's an amazing movie. The group has the movie on Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $4.99 or buy it for $9.99. I did both. They are trying to raise money, and through their website with their CD sales and merchandise sales, they want to get this movie out into the mainstream theatrical release. And let me tell you, it's wonderful.
And how many times have you seen? How many times have you
I've
seen
seen it only once, only because I've got friends coming over to watch it. So we're going to have a movie night with this movie. But I have to tell you, so far, of all of 2020 and 2021, of all the movies I've seen, this is my favorite movie.
And that's some endorsement for it. I also, after you told me about it, I checked the cast. And there was some other, I don't have a name in front of me, but some other actor I'd heard about, kind of a mainstream actor. He doesn't have the leading role, but who else is in the film?
Well, who's the main characters in the band are the three group members: Rich Price, Greg Naughton, and Brian Chartman. Who is in the movie that's also a Broadway and Tony-winning actor is Greg's brother, James Naughton.
Okay, that's who I'm
he
thinking
won the Tony for City of Angels.
Okay, so it should be quite something. And I thank you for the recommendation. Again, if you're interested in seeing it, if you want to take Mike's recommendation, it's The Independents. It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. And Blaine, if I can play a short track from one of their songs,
I'd love to hear it.
CDs, I would love to do that.
Okay, let's see if it plays, but give it a shot. Now, are you trying to share it with the screen or?
I am trying to reopen it because I somehow closed it.
Okay. Well, as Mike's trying to get this track going, I should mention that you listened to an interview, a special Blaine's World show with my friend Mike Martinelli. And we're talking about movies. And we're going to see if we can get just a little bit of this one film called The Independents going. And if not, we can always come back to it.
Can you hear it, Blaine?
Oh, I can hear it perfectly, yeah.
Okay, awesome. This is on their new CD, and it's called Rubicon.
There's a fire on the London Bridge. Smoke black like the night rose higher. So holding up through which red flames like cathedral spires. Red flames like cathedral spires. The cross beam split in two. Bells of water to buy some time. Now I'm feeling like I can't break through. Like a madman trying to speak his mind. There's no time, no time.
And that's just a little sample of one of the songs on their new CD. And you can hear the amazing harmony that they have together.
Now, is that song in the movie also?
I don't think it is, because the movie was actually filmed in 2018 and just got released on Amazon Prime. It took them 3 years to get it on Amazon Prime. This is actually from their new CD that just came out recently.
Okay, the name of the group again is The Sweet Remains?
Sweet Remains.
Okay, well, I really thank you for that recommendation. I just wrote it down, but now I'm going to have to put you to work, Mike, because
that works.
Instead of talking about a film that we can't yet, or we can see, but it's not up for an Oscar, unfortunately, let's talk about all the movies that are up for Oscars. And again, I appreciate you being on the show, because the reality is that, as you know, I'm kind of a movie buff also, but I haven't seen hardly any of these. And so what I'd like to do, Mike, getting people ready for Sunday night, we'll kind of take this in reverse order, if that's okay with you.
It works.
Okay, I'll talk about some of the stuff that I don't know if this is the exact order it'll be, but some of the categories, for example, that you don't hear too much about or you don't get to talk about. And those, of course, are some short films. In general, are you a fan of short films?
I do like them because, it's one of those things. If it's really good, you want it to go on more, but it doesn't. And if it's really something you don't like, it ends. So that's a really good thing.
So again, I don't know if you have the list in front of you.
I do.
I know nothing about the short films. They have live action, animated, and documentary.
Mhm.
Talk about some of the films in them. And now,
I've
have you seen
seen-
any of these?
I have. I've seen
Super.
4 out of the 3 categories.
Great.
The short film live action, I've seen The Present and Two Distant Strangers.
Okay. And I know you like The Present. What's
I
that
do.
about?
It is about a Jewish man trying to cross the border with his daughter to go buy a refrigerator for his wife for an anniversary present,
Oh,
and
sounds
how
lovely.
he's harassed and everything. Very good film. Two Distant Strangers is very strange. It's the best way I could describe it. It's about this Black gentleman who keeps having this reoccurring dream of being shot and murdered by a cop.
Wow, very, very contemporary.
So I actually, of the 2 that I saw, even though I didn't particularly like Two Distant Strangers, I think it'll win the Oscar. It seems to be one of the picks of the Gold Derby experts that predict the movies. They're kind of all over the category in this. I mean, all over the place with this category. There's no consensus among them. It's like Two Distant Strangers, The Present, or The Letter Room. And I cannot find The Letter Room anywhere.
If people want to see short films, it's too bad that, what was it, the Carolinas, hopefully they'll be open soon, or if they're open now, but they used to have, remember, a program every year where they show the short films. How do you find short films if they're not in a local theater?
They actually, you were able to stream them. You were able to rent them and stream them this year. The Present and Two Distant Strangers is on Netflix.
Oh, super. Okay, good to know.
But they did have an option to rent all the short films, the documentary, animated, and live action for one price.
Yeah. Because I also, again, should mention to viewers that you're just the only guy I know who has almost every streaming service out there. You have, most people just have Netflix or something else, but you have them all. Short film animated. I'm not a big animated film fan. Are you?
I'm not a big fan of animation either, but I'll tell you this one movie I loved. It's just very emotional. It's called If Anything Happens, I Love You. It's done so beautifully. It's got a really realistic but very dramatic sad ending. And that's all I'll say because I don't want to spoil it. Everybody that's seen it has loved it, and like myself, has cried.
How long is a short film typically?
They're usually anywhere from 12 to 24 minutes.
Okay. And then lastly, a category I do like in full length, I haven't seen too many short subjects in documentaries, but which short subject did you like?
I liked A Love Song for Latasha. Again, it's a very moving, very sad, short documentary film that's a true story about a girl in LA who goes into a grocery store to buy a can of soda and is shot and killed by the owner.
Oh, I mean, it's interesting as you describe these.
And it's a true story.
Yeah. And some of these seem very, contemporary. I mean, just the themes.
They do.
Yeah, they've changed a little bit. Visual effects now, we're getting some films that people may know about.
Yeah.
Which one did you like best?
Actually, on visual effects, I actually didn't see with any of them. So I kind of went with what I'm hearing the buzz of everybody talking about that had the best visual effects, which was Tenet. That was a movie that kind of came out right as the pandemic started last year, never really got a good theatrical release, and I don't know how much streaming it's got, but that seems to be the big pick from everybody for best visual effects.
And you mentioned something just now, Mike, about the buzz. And again, another thing that you do more than, I guess, anybody else I know is that not only do you watch films, but you seem to read a lot about them as well. Is that a true statement?
I do, and I follow Gold Derby, who has editors and experts that predict the races. You can also become a member like I am, and you get to vote.
Oh, really?
Last year was the best I've done in predicting them. I got 75% right last year. Generally, I'm under 50%, but
Well,
I did really well last year.
Except to your credit, Mike, you also hit like all the categories. You know, other people will predict, 5 categories or something.
Yeah.
So for you to pick 16, 18 categories, that's pretty outstanding, 75%. Do you keep tabs of how you do?
I do. Yeah, I do. This year, I feel, since I've seen most of the movies, I feel really confident.
Okay. Talk about, again, some other categories people may not be familiar with, but best sound.
Best sound, I think, sound used to be 2 categories. It used to be, and I'm trying to remember what they were. It was sound editing, and there was another sound category. They actually combined it. I think the sound winner will be Sound of Metal, about the drummer who loses his hearing. They did a really incredible job with the sound in that film.
And that's one film I did see. That was on, I guess, Amazon Prime, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it maybe later, but since you brought it up, mention it. Can you give kind of a Reader's Digest version what that movie is about?
It's about a drummer who loses his hearing and has to learn to communicate with the world and learn how to function without music. And it's a very touching story. My only issue, one of my problems with a lot of the films this year is a lot of them really dragged. This one was good. The storyline was good, but it dragged. Riz Ahmed gives an amazing performance. He really does.
And I thought as you're talking about it too, in terms of sound, I don't usually think about it, but in that film, you'll definitely notice the sound.
Yeah.
So
if you remember last year's winner, Ford versus Ferrari, it was like the sound, and that was great with the racing car.
Right. Another film that I'm not familiar with, and we may have a disagreement on it, but talk about best production design.
Best production design is basically what they do. It's basically the design for the set, and the how they're going to, have the set, where they're going to build the set, how they're going to do it. I've seen the only movie in that, I didn't see a couple of those movies. And the one that I think will win is Mank. And that's the one I haven't seen that I need to watch tonight. And it's the only Best Picture nominee that I haven't seen yet. But it's not got a chance to win Best Picture. So I'm not pushed really trying to see it, but it definitely has a good shot at production design, because what they were saying in one of the Gold Derby interviews yesterday is that they tend to like films for production design that are in black and white.
Oh, interesting.
And that film is in black and white.
And that film, I'll be curious to get your reaction afterwards, but I'll just say that it wasn't my favorite film of the year. I was a little disappointed with it.
That's what most people said.
Really? Oh, I'm not the only one.
Why I wasn't in a rush to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it got such phenomenal reviews, great cast, but it's flat. And yet the other film in that category, and we'll revisit it, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I really enjoyed,
I like that. I thought that dragged too. I really.
Yeah. Well, I guess, a lot of movies drag at times. And so I'll ask, not put you on the spot, but I know you mentioned off the air that you didn't get to hear too many of the best original songs. Do you want to pass on that category?
No, but I'll tell you who I voted for in Gold Derby and who I'm hoping to win, because I really love him, and he's a double nominee this year. I'm really hoping that, Leslie Odom Jr., who wrote Speak Now from One Night in Miami, wins Best Song. The Academy has been really good the last couple of years of spreading the wealth of the Oscars. So I strongly think, since he doesn't have a prayer to win supporting actor this year, that they very possibly could give it to him for the best song, just like they did with Lady Gaga 2 years ago.
Well, when you're looking at that category, it's interesting, Mike, because as you said, that some songs, you just know all the time. And I'm looking at all those songs in that category, and I don't know any of them per se. You know what I mean?
No.
That doesn't hit you. Best
The
original
one
score.
from the
Yeah.
Eurovision Song Contest, Yusovic, is written by Diane Warren. This is her 12th nomination, and she's never won before.
Wait, is that? Oh, I just see her. That has my vote. Did you see Eurovision?
I have not.
I loved it.
Did
It's
you really?
just such a fun film. And now that's I don't think it'll win it, but I just saw that the film is up there. Best original score talks more than just the song itself. It's the whole music in the film.
Mhm.
Which one did you like there?
I like Soul. I thought the score was good in that. I particularly didn't care for the movie. It was one of the ones I got halfway through and stopped watching. It just was not one of my favorite animated films, but I thought it was, of all the animated films, it was very well done.
You do that in a film? You walk out?
Say that again?
Do you walk out of a film?
I think in my entire life in the movie theater, I've walked out on maybe 2 movies.
I think you told me about that. But so at home, it's easy.
Much easier to shut it off and you get out, especially since most of the ones you stream are free.
Exactly. Well, you pay for the streaming, so overall.
Yeah.
Makeup and hairstyling.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
I have to, I mean, again, I didn't see all the films, but boy, that was pretty impressive.
Was amazing in that, and I'm just going to double up on another category because it's also going to win costume design because the costumes in that film were amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting that I'm looking at costume design too. Mulan is in that category too, and that's interesting. That's an animated film, right?
No, Mulan was the live action.
Oh, the live action. I was wondering.
The live action that kind of also came out last year. That kind of got paused until the end of the year, and then it was on Disney Plus for streaming at a premium price of $29.95. And then I think you can watch it for free now with your Disney Plus subscription.
Did you see it?
I did not.
Okay, I think I'll pass.
Yeah, I felt that way.
Best film editing. Now
Film editing, I think, is going to go to, I'm really torn. There's so many good choices in this one, but I do want to say probably Sound of Metal. I think they did a great job with editing that film. But they also did an amazing job with editing The Trial of the Chicago 7 and The Father. Actually, all 5 films have great editing.
And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Cinematography.
Cinematography is absolutely Nomadland. The cinematography is so beautiful in that movie.
Yeah, that's the film I want to see. Where'd you see it?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, I don't get Hulu, so it's only on Hulu.
It's only on Hulu.
Okay, but yeah, I really want to see that film. We'll come back and talk about it in just a little bit. Documentary.
Let me see. Where is my list? Best documentary is definitely the big favorite that everybody seems to like, and it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix-made movie, My Octopus Teacher.
Yeah, what was that about again?
It's about this guy that goes underwater and becomes friends with an octopus.
Oh, okay,
He
yeah.
learns from the octopus. I think the other one that would have a really good chance of winning, and I've seen bits and pieces of it, is Crip Camp.
Yeah.
It's about the handicap.
And that one I saw, I loved, and I loved it much more than My Octopus Teacher, but really really good film. So when you get a chance, see the whole thing. Best international feature film. Oh, so they changed that, right? Used to have
It used
title?
to be foreign film, but it changed last year to international. And this is also on one of the streaming services, and I want to say it's on Netflix. Another Round. It is one of the better ones of the 5, even though they say that Kivadis Aida is also really good and a very strong contender. The thing about Another Round is that it got a Best Director nomination.
Now, did you see that yet?
I have not.
Because I guess best international films. Again, I have to get used to international films. You really have to search for them a little bit to see them on.
You really do.
On streaming.
You don't even find them generally in the movie theaters. It's a rare occasion.
That's true.
Last year was a rare occasion that Parasite got nationwide release.
Well, I think you told me about that, right, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a powerful film.
It was.
But that's why I missed, like, the theaters, because, again, Grail and Fine Arts and sometimes Carolina, they're not open. So, hopefully soon.
Actually, the Grail is reopened.
I saw that, yeah.
They are in a new space in the River Arts District.
Have you been there yet?
Limited, but I'm not. I just saw it like a week or so on the news that they are reopened.
Yeah, and I just had an interview with them a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be kind of exciting. Animated features, again, I have to admit that I haven't seen any of them. You saw some of them?
The only one I really saw, and I only saw half of it, was Soul. It just was one of those movies that for me was not going to go anywhere. But the score was great. If I could have just sat there and listened to the score, it would have been fine.
If it wins, will you go back and see the whole thing?
Maybe. It's one of those is like, this is something maybe I'll watch. Everybody else who's seen it seemed to really, really like it. I'm in the minority on that one.
Best original screenplay.
Absolutely Promising Young Woman.
I haven't seen
What a powerful, powerful movie.
What's it about?
It is about a woman who seeks revenge on guys for harassing women. Women.
That's not the one where she's a financial advisor. You told me to see that one too. She takes care of older people.
No, that was another one. That didn't get any nomination.
Right. But that was fun though, wasn't it?
It was fun.
Yeah, but it sounds same kind of premise. But Promising Young Woman, so you saw that, right?
I saw that.
Sounds like my kind of film.
I did love that. You would love that.
Okay, I'll look for it. Best adapted screenplay.
I think adapted screenplay definitely will probably go to The Father. I originally thought it was going to go maybe to Nomadland, but I really think that The Father has a better screenplay. The thing with Nomadland is the screenplay was written from the book, and it's done brilliantly. But the thing is that in Nomadland, a good percentage of the cast are actually real live nomads that they filmed that they didn't have a script for. So, to win adopted screenplay is taken away a little bit just by the fact that it's, not the full script that they used in the movie, because they have all these real life nomads that just improvise and kind of just tell their stories, which is one of the really neat things about that movie.
And Mike, as we're talking, I just want to mention to our viewers that you're listening to the BLAINESWORLD Show, a special edition with my friend Mike Martinelli, and we're talking about the upcoming Academy Awards. And we're now going to hit, Mike, some of the categories that people at least have heard about. And we'll take the first one, the Best Supporting Actress. Who do you like in there?
Best Supporting Actress is absolutely hands down, and I don't know that I'm going to say her name right, Yoon Jing from Minari. She plays the grandmother, and even if you didn't like this movie, which I liked this movie, I thought it dragged too, but I liked it a lot, you will love her. She is just the perfect grandmother.
Is this is it in English?
It's a combination of English and Korean.
Okay.
So because the story's based on, they're in the United States. They moved from California to, and I can't remember the state they moved to, but they moved for a job. So it's a combination of English and subtitle.
Because the other one I do know in that category, the woman, I won't pronounce her name either, but was in the Barat movie. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, Maria Bakalova.
Did you see the film?
I did not. I was not a fan of the first
I remember it, yeah.
Did not have. But I have to tell you, Yoon Young Jing is a very famous Korean actress.
I've heard, yeah.
That she's just amazing. If you have not seen her acceptance speech from the SAG Awards and the reaction from the other nominees in the category that were so thrilled that she won, it's just so much fun to watch, and her acceptance speech is amazing. And she won BAFTA too.
Had you ever seen her before?
Never heard of her before.
Okay,
Never
interesting.
heard of her before.
Best supporting actor.
That is probably a lock, and I hated this movie. I saw
I haven't seen
35 minutes of this movie and turned it off. But you know, Daniel Kaluuya seems to be the lock. One of the reasons he's a lock is his character, his part is really a lead category part, but they put him in supporting. And a lot of times the Academy will award a lead acting part that gets nominated in the supporting category. And when I saw him, you know, his performance was very good.
And turning into then best actress.
I've got more gray hairs over this category. This is one, and this is so nice because if you remember, there's been several years that the 4 acting awards all went to the same people in all the award shows. This, and I don't know that I ever remember this happening. I'm sure it has, but all the other award shows have had different winners. Andra Day won Golden Globe. Carey Mulligan won Critics' Choice. Viola Davis won SAG, and Frances McDormand won BAFTA. The only one that didn't, and she's got no chance of winning Oscar, was Vanessa Kirby. She's not. I have to say my favorite is, and if she wins on Oscar night, all of Asheville will hear me jumping up and down and cheering. Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday. She was amazing in that movie.
I haven't seen it.
She is, it's another Hulu. I'm going to have to get you Hulu.
Oh.
You're missing all these good movies on Hulu. Her performance is great. I would not be at all disappointed if Carey Mulligan or Viola Davis won. I love Viola Davis.
Me too, yeah.
Frances McDormand was good, but she's won 2 Oscars. And the thing is that she's a producer in Nomadland. So if that does win Best Picture, she'll get an Oscar anyway. So I really think it's really between Viola Davis, Andra Day, and Carey Mulligan.
And it's interesting because now these are some films that people may have heard, you know, about or even seen some of these. And it goes from Best Actress, we go into, and this one I agree with your choice, to Best Actor.
Yes. And my only concern about this category is, and if there's an upset in this category, there's going to be an upset person right here. Chadwick Boseman was amazing in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He just gave the performance of his life. Anthony Hopkins is brilliant in The Father, playing a father with dementia. You know, any other year, his performance would be a lock. There is a lot of buzz that he could be an upset in this category, and it would be a total shame because, you know, Chadwick Boseman gave a brilliant performance, and this is his only chance of ever getting an Oscar. Anthony Hopkins has an Oscar.
Right.
Hopefully he'll live long enough, make more movies, and then an Oscar. But this would be a very upsetting upset if it happened.
Well, and in this one, too, you said you read all about the other award shows and other people write about movies. It seems Boseman has won just about all other awards. Yeah. So I'd really be surprised.
There's been years, though, in categories that everybody has won everything.
Right.
And then come Oscar time, somebody else wins.
Okay. And then we move to the 2 big ones. And that's Best Director and got some pretty impressive films. Who would you like best in that category?
That category is a lot. Chloe Zhao from Nomadland. Her directing of that movie is just absolutely brilliant. She's won everything. She will win the Oscar. What's great about that is that she is first off, she's a woman and she's a woman of color. And that will be a first for the Oscars.
Oh, really?
It'll only be the second woman to win a Best Director Oscar, and it'll be the first woman of color to win an Oscar.
Now, what's interesting, Mike, is your choice on that is different. And I want to just talk to you a little bit about that as opposed to Best Picture. So even though you said she's a lock for Nomadland, which I want to see, you don't think that's going to win Best Picture?
You know, it's been the favorite all year long, but with this preferential ballot, the last several years, the movie that everybody thinks is the front runner is going to win ends up not winning, and what the preferential ballot is, and it's only in the best picture category. The Producers Guild uses the same ballot. What it is on the first round, if no film gets 51%, they go to a second ballot of voting. So that means any movie, and it's usually the first, second, or third film that gets the most vote wins Best Picture. So if no movie gets the 51% on the first round, everybody's second and third choice could be The Trial of the Chicago 7, and that would get 51%. That would win Best Picture.
Has that happened in the past?
That's what's happened since they changed to this ballot in 2009. It's happened numerous years.
And you've talked about some of the other films. Just talk a little bit, Mike, about The Trial of the Chicago 7.
I thought it was great. It was, and actually who I was really surprised, who gave a brilliant performance, was Sacha Baron Cohen. He really surprised me with his acting in that film. It was done very well. Alan Sorkin did a great screenplay. He should have got a Best Director nomination. He did not. He actually got replaced by Thomas Vinterberg for another round, the international favorite.
The other guy I thought was great in the film, again, name's escaping me, you'll know it. Who played the judge?
Frank Langella.
Yeah, boy,
He
I thought
was amazing.
but wasn't he? I'm surprised he didn't get nominated.
He was. I'm surprised too, but he got the SAG award for that because Trial of Chicago 7 won SAG cast ensemble. So all the and that's got one of the largest casts of any of the films that are nominated.
It's too bad because as you describe it, it seems like it's a really good category to have a ensemble cast.
I think that it's really between Nomadland and the Trial of Chicago 7. I'd be happy with either one. All the film, like I said, I've got to see Mank. Minari's good. It's not Best Picture, not like Parasite was last year. It's not even close to that. Sound of Metal was good, but definitely not Best Picture. Promising Young Woman actually is good enough that it could be a Best Picture winner. It almost reminds you of the year that there was the upset at the Oscars when the Silence of the Lambs won everything.
Do me a favor, Mike, too. When you do see Mank, I'd love you to do one of your print reviews because I love reading them as well.
Sure.
So I'm just curious your reaction to it too.
Absolutely. I will tell you, like I said, The Father is good. I thought it dragged too, but Olivia Colman and Anthony Hopkins just give great performances. They really do.
And Michael, I'll ask you two final questions. One, having to do with all the films we've gone through, and in a short period of time, we certainly went through a lot of films. If you were to tell people to see any one or two of them, what one or two of them would you put on the top of your list?
Definitely Nomadland, Promising Young Woman.
And those two I haven't seen, but
they're both really good. And I think most people probably have seen The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see this year because most people and most Academy voters have seen these movies through streaming versus going to a screening at a movie theater. So it will definitely be interesting to see the outcome if, seeing things through streaming services makes a difference.
Now, that's a really good point on your part, because I'll be curious too, if people don't, you would think they may have a chance to even watch it more closely. They could stop it, they could put the volume up, play with it. Whereas in a theater, if you lose it, you lose it.
Right, exactly.
Interesting point.
Sometimes the theaters, the sound's too loud. Sometimes it's not loud enough. You got somebody near you eating popcorn that's loud. So there's all kind of obstacles that you don't face at home that you can, just pause it and restart it at any time.
Mike, if any folks want to follow Mike Martinelli, and he's quite a guy to follow, best bet is if they wanted to get in touch with you or track you down, what's the best bet?
Just through my Facebook page.
Okay, and that's Mike, spelled last name?
Martinelli, Martinelli. And
if Mike accepts you as a friend, it's definitely worth getting hold of because Mike is You'll see kind of an interesting guy. He also has you do have a few opinions on things, I would say, with you.
I do, yes, especially politics, but we won't go there. It's like I'm staying away from that. I made myself
I've noticed
crazy
that.
with that, so
Anyway,
I'm not going there.
Okay, Mike, I'd really like to thank you again for being my guest on the BLAINESWORLD show.
Sure,
Hopefully, I'd love to have you make this an annual thing because I love
this would be
talking.
good. And again, people, don't forget about liking the Facebook page for The Sweet Remains and their new CD. You can get all 4 on their website, and rent or buy the movie on Amazon, The Independent. It's actually just a wonderful feel-good movie.
Okay, thanks, Mike, for that recommendation. I'd also like to thank Amy Prislash, my producer, and look forward to having you join me on a regular time, Wednesdays, 9 a.m. on WPVM 103.7. You can also listen online at WPVMFM.org, and you watch on WPVM's Facebook page, in which this show will be on, hopefully, for the next couple of weeks. Mike, thanks again for joining us. I hope to speak to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Blaine.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Bye.